Close your eyes and imagine sleeping without electric lights, without smartphones buzzing, without a mattress or pillow as you know them. Imagine sleeping when the rhythm of your life was dictated by the sun and the stars, when the night held both comfort and terror, and when the concept of a solid 8 hours under a down-filled duvet was unheard of. The question of whether ancient people slept better than us isn't just a matter of counting hours. It's an invitation to step into the darkness of the past, to feel the cool earth beneath you or the scratch of straw, to hear the howl of wolves outside and the whispered prayers within. It is a journey through caves painted with animals, huts warmed by central fires, palaces with feather beds, nomadic tents open to the night sky, and crowded medieval rooms where families slept together for warmth. Tonight, you will explore how people slept thousands of years ago, and in doing so, you may begin to understand your own relationship with sleep. Are you ready to blow out your candle and travel through the ages? Let's begin. The first humans to walk the earth did not have bedrooms. You, as a member of a small band of hunter-gatherers, sleep wherever safety and warmth can be found. Tonight you are sleeping in a cave. The ceiling arches above you, streaked with soot from countless fires. The floor is covered with animal skins, deer, bear, and perhaps the soft, luxurious hide of a cave lion. You are curled up next to your family. The fire crackles, casting flickering shadows of painted bison and handprints onto the walls. Outside, the wind wails through the mountains, but inside, you smell wood smoke, animal fat, and earth. You are tired from a day of tracking herds, digging tubers, and knapping flint. There is no concept of a bedtime routine, but there is a ritual. You eat, you tell stories, you watch the embers die, and when the last storyteller's voice fades, you close your eyes. Your sleep is segmented. You doze off quickly, lulled by exhaustion and the rhythmic breathing of those around you. After a few hours you wake. It is not unusual. In fact, it is expected. In the middle of the night, you take a watch. While others sleep, you stir the fire, listen for predators, and perhaps gaze at the stars. The night sky is a map and a calendar. It tells you when to move camp, when to hunt certain animals. You do not find the darkness oppressive because you have never known a world lit artificially. The moon provides enough light to see your breath. After your watch, you curl up again and fall into a second sleep. In the morning, you do not measure how many hours you slept. You simply rise when the first light filters through the cave opening. You stretch, rub your stiff shoulders, and prepare for another day. Ancient sleep is communal. You are never alone. Children, elders, and young adults all sleep within arm's reach. You feel safe in numbers. You hear someone snoring. You smell your brother's hair. When a child cries, a mother soothes. When a wolf howls, a man grips his spear. Sleep is woven into the fabric of survival. You have no concept of insomnia, because if you lie awake, there is always something to do. Mend a net, watch the fire, talk to a friend. Dreams are not trivial. They are messages. You recount them in the morning. Did you see a herd of horses? Perhaps you should hunt horses today. Did you dream of falling into a river? Perhaps a flood is coming. Your relationship with sleep is intimate and practical. It is not something to optimize. It simply is. Fast forward several millennia and cross a continent. You're now a servant in ancient Egypt, living during the reign of a powerful pharaoh. Your days are filled with building monuments, tending crops along the Nile, and worshiping gods that watch over the land. The sun is the ultimate ruler here. When it rises, you rise. When it sets, you rest. Your home is a mud brick house with a flat roof. In the heat of summer, you drag your mat and wooden headrest up to the roof to sleep. You lie on your back and look up at a sky dotted with stars that seem close enough to touch. The air is cooler than inside the house. The sounds of insects and the lapping of the river lull you. You drift off, knowing that the river will flood at its appointed time, bringing life-giving silt. What do you sleep on? If you are wealthy, you sleep on a wooden bed frame with ropes strung across it and a mattress stuffed with straw. You have a headrest, a curved piece of wood on a pedestal, designed to keep your elaborate hairstyle in place. At first, it feels like a torture device. You imagine resting your head on a stone. But you are used to it. It lifts your head, allowing air to circulate and insects to crawl elsewhere. If you are a laborer, you sleep on a mat woven from reeds. It is thin, but the ground beneath is warm. Your pillow is your arm. You share your sleeping space with family members and maybe a cat or two. Cats are sacred, and they keep mice away. You fall asleep, listening to the purr of your cat and the distant beat of drums from a temple. Egyptians respect sleep and dream interpretation. There are dream books and professional dream interpreters. If you dream of drowning, it means financial loss. If you dream of eating a crocodile, it means leadership. You might visit a temple and sleep there to receive a message from a god. Incubation rituals involve purification, offerings, and sleeping on the temple floor. You hope for a divine dream. The priests record and interpret them. Sleep is not just rest. It is a gateway to the divine. You do not worry about sleep hygiene. You worry about pleasing the gods. If you wake in the night to the sound of something crawling, you flick it away. If you wake to the smell of incense, you know it is time for a midnight prayer. Now, let us sail across the Mediterranean to Greece and Rome. You are a citizen of Athens. Your days are filled with debate in the agora and practice on the lyre. Your nights are filled with symposia, drinking parties where men recline on couches and discuss philosophy. You do not sleep for 8 hours straight. You nap in the heat of the afternoon, a siesta to escape the scorching sun. This nap, known as mesemere, is a time for rest and perhaps a tryst. You lie on your couch or bed, often a wooden frame with a stuffed mattress, and drift into a light sleep. You wake refreshed and ready for the evening. At night, after the symposium, you might fall asleep on the couch in your clothes. The couch is covered with blankets and cushions. You use a pillow stuffed with wool. The pillow has been around since Mesopotamian times. In fact, ancient Sumerians had pillows made of stone, carved with reliefs. You prefer wool. You dream of mathematics and gods. In the morning, you will discuss your dreams with your fellow philosophers. The Greeks believed that dreams can be sent by gods. Hypnos, the god of sleep, and his twin brother Thanatos, the god of death, are depicted with wings. Sleep is both a friend and a cousin to death. You treat it with respect. In Rome, you are a merchant. You have a bustling house with servants. You sleep in a cubiculum, a small bedroom off the courtyard. Your bed is made of wood, with rope supports, and a mattress stuffed with feathers. Your pillow is soft. You sleep with your spouse if you are respectable. If not, you might have separate sleeping arrangements. Romans like to sleep in late, especially the wealthy. The morning hours are for clients to visit and pay their respects. After midday, you rest again. The word siesta comes from the Latin sexta hora, the 6th hour after dawn. Roman soldiers take naps. The Roman poet Martial writes about midday naps. Sleep is integrated into the day. Romans also worry about sleep demons. They believe in nocturnal spirits, like the Lamia, a female demon who steals children, and incubi, male demons who attack women at night. To ward them off, you hang amulets near the bed, or draw protective symbols. You might place a broom across the doorway. You might recite a prayer to your household gods. Sleep is not always safe. At night, the streets are dark and dangerous. There are no police, only a few guards. Thieves and drunken brawlers roam. The poor sleep in doorways. You make sure your door is barred. You sleep with a dagger within reach. Now you find yourself in medieval Europe. You are a peasant, living in a one-room cottage with your family and livestock. Your bed is a wooden frame filled with straw. You add herbs like lavender and mint to keep away fleas. The smell is pleasant, though you cannot escape the smell of the animals who sleep nearby. The goat bleats in the night. The chickens cluck. You sleep fully clothed because it is cold. The only source of heat is the hearth, which you bank with ashes so that it smolders until morning. The night outside is utter darkness. There are no street lamps. You latch the door with a simple bar. You feel vulnerable and safe at the same time. Like your prehistoric ancestors, you do not sleep straight through the night. In the early part of the night, you sleep deeply. You wake around midnight. This waking, called the watch, or first wake, is accepted and even welcomed. You tend to the fire, check on the animals, and perhaps use the chamber pot, a bucket in the corner. You may pray or think. Some people use this time for sex, believing it is more fertile. Others go outside to check on the weather, the stars, or the state of the crops. After an hour or so, you go back to bed for your second sleep. Your second sleep is lighter. You dream more. You may slip into a semi-lucid state. This pattern of segmented sleep is common across Europe for centuries. It is not considered insomnia. It is simply how sleep works. If you are wealthy, you sleep in a separate bedroom with a feather bed. Your sheets are linen, and your blankets are made of wool or fur. You have a canopy to keep out drafts. You sleep with a nightcap to cover your head. You might read before bed, if you are literate, but candles are expensive and dangerous to leave burning. You may say prayers or recite a psalm. In monasteries, monks rise at specific hours, matins, lauds, to chant. They go to bed early and wake multiple times during the night for prayer. Sleep is regulated as part of spiritual discipline. Medieval people associate the night with spirits and witches. They believe that demons can enter through keyholes. They hang charms made of herbs or iron. They also believe that night air can carry miasmas, diseases, so they close shutters and avoid going outside. The poor sometimes sleep in communal halls on pallets laid end to end. Privacy is scarce. Snoring, farting, and muttering in sleep are normal. You laugh when your neighbor mutters the name of the miller's daughter. You tease him in the morning. He blushes and throws a clod of mud at you. Sleep, like life, is communal. Travel east to ancient China. You are a farmer in the Han Dynasty. You sleep on a heated brick platform called a kang. In winter, you feed it from below with a small fire. The warmth radiates through the bricks and into your bones. Your family shares the kang. You lie with your feet toward the hearth, your head toward the wall. The mattress is a thin pad. The pillow is made of bamboo, lacquered wood, or porcelain. It is cool in summer. At first, you think it is uncomfortable. Then you realize it keeps your head elevated, which helps with circulation. You sleep on your side or your back. You rise before dawn to tend the fields. In ancient Chinese philosophy, sleep is part of the yin-yang balance. Yin is dark, passive, and cold. Yang is bright, active and warm. Night is yin time. Sleep is essential for restoring your qi, your life energy. You might practice meditation or qigong before bed. You do not overthink sleep. If you have trouble sleeping, you drink a tea made of lotus seeds or chrysanthemum. You avoid spicy food at night. You believe that sleeping in a room with good feng shui, proper alignment with cardinal directions and no beams over the bed, will help you sleep better. You also believe that your ancestors watch over you. You place ancestral tablets in the home and light incense. You feel safe under their gaze. In India, you are a merchant traveling along the Ganges. You sleep in a charpai, a woven bed of rope and wooden frame. It is light and portable. You string it between two trees or set it in your courtyard. You feel the breeze through the ropes. Your pillow is a roll of cloth. You sleep with your face turned toward the east, believing it is auspicious. You may nap during the hottest part of the day and stay awake late into the evening when it is cooler. In the morning you perform rituals. You greet the rising sun. Sleep is intertwined with your daily cycles of worship and work. In Japan, you are a noble in the Heian period. You sleep on tatami mats covered with silk. You use a small, firm pillow filled with buckwheat husks. You sleep in a kimono. Your household sleeps early because lamps are expensive. You wake early to write poetry or watch the moon. Sleep is sometimes seen as an indulgence. Staying up late to compose a poem or paint calligraphy is valued. Women in high society sleep behind screens with attendants nearby. Men may fall asleep during long court rituals, leaning on their sleeves. Dreams are considered important. They may be messages from the gods or glimpses of the future. If you dream of a certain temple, you may make a pilgrimage. The line between waking and dreaming is fluid. Sleep is both a physical necessity and a spiritual experience. Now you are a member of the Himba people in present-day Namibia, though your story could be told across many African and indigenous cultures. You sleep in a hut made of branches, mud, and cow dung. The roof is thatched. Your bed is a mat on the ground near the fire. You sleep in a circle with your family. The nights are warm. You fall asleep to the sound of insects and the far-off roar of lions. You wake several times in the night. Each time, you stir the fire, check the goats, and then lie back down. Your sleep is segmented but not stressful. You may wake to chat quietly with a neighbor. You may snack on roasted corn. There is no concept of insomnia, because there is no expectation of sleeping through. In the rainforest of the Congo, you are a member of the Mbuti. You sleep in a small dome-shaped hut made of leaves and branches. You are part of a larger band. You do not worry about locking doors. There are no doors. The community keeps you safe. You go to bed when the sun sets and wake when it rises. During the night, you may wake and join others around a fire for a story. Laughter floats through the trees. Dreams are important. You believe that while you sleep, your soul travels. If you dream of an ancestor, you may sing a song for them the next day. Your sleep is not a solitary event. It is a social and spiritual process. On the Great Plains of North America, you are a Lakota woman. You sleep in a tipi made of buffalo hides stretched over poles. The fire in the center warms you. Smoke exits through the top. Your bed is made of furs. You sleep with your children and your husband. You hear the yip of coyotes. You feel the ground beneath you. You go to sleep when you are tired, not at a set hour. You may sleep during the day if you have been on a night watch. Sleep patterns are flexible because life is flexible. If you have a vision quest coming up, you may fast and stay awake for days. Sleep is a tool for connecting with the spirit world. Dreams are guides. You treat them with respect. As we edge toward the modern era, sleep begins to change. You are now in the 17th century, living in a city like London or Paris. You have a bed with a thick mattress, stuffed with wool or feathers. You have sheets and blankets. You have curtains around your bed, not just for warmth, but for privacy. The bed is a piece of furniture that can cost as much as a small house. You display your bed in the best room as a sign of wealth. You sleep in a nightshirt and cap. You wash your feet before bed, but not much else. You light a candle to read, if you are literate. Books are more common, but candles are still expensive. You blow out the candle before sleeping. You worry about fire. House fires are common. Clocks are becoming more prevalent. They ring out the hours from church towers. People begin to talk about 8 hours of sleep as desirable, though many still follow segmented patterns. If you are wealthy, you may sleep later, because you do not need to rise for work. If you are poor, you rise with the sun. Coffee houses open early, offering a jolt of caffeine to those who cannot afford to sleep in. Sleep is becoming regulated. There are pamphlets advising on the best times to sleep. Physicians talk about a good night's rest. Beds improve. Springs are introduced. Pillows become softer. Sleep becomes more private. Children start sleeping in separate rooms if there is space. Yet the night is still dark and dangerous. Watchmen cry the hour and warn of fires. Prostitutes ply their trade. Thieves lurk. You may bar your door and place a chair under the handle. If you are wealthy, you have servants to watch. If you are poor, you watch yourself. Sleep is still communal for many. Lodging houses have rows of pallets. Sailors and apprentices share beds. Privacy is a luxury. You may share a bed with a stranger. There is a custom called sleeping with a partner that is not sexual. Travelers share a bed for warmth and to save money. It is not considered scandalous, though it can lead to awkward conversations. The Industrial Revolution changes everything, including sleep. You are now a factory worker in the 19th century. You wake before dawn to the sound of a factory whistle. You work long hours in a noisy, smoky mill. When you return home, you are exhausted. You collapse onto a straw mattress. Your sleep is no longer aligned with the sun. It is aligned with shifts and whistles. Gas lamps light the streets and the factory floors. Nights are no longer dark. You may work the night shift. You sleep during the day with a cloth over your eyes. Your neighbors are awake and noisy. You sleep poorly. The expectation of 8 continuous hours begins to clash with reality. Medical texts in this era start to classify insomnia as a disorder. The idea that sleep should be consolidated and uninterrupted becomes a norm. People begin to worry about getting enough sleep. They read articles in newspapers about sleep hygiene. They buy sleep tonics and patent medicines. They take laudanum to sleep. They consult physicians about their nervous exhaustion. The segmentation of sleep is forgotten or labeled as a problem. Artificial lighting makes the night bright. You can read, sew, or gossip long after dark. You can visit friends. Sleep becomes compressed into a shorter period. You begin to feel that you never have enough. In cities, you now have alarm clocks. They ring loudly, jolting you awake. You can no longer rely on the rising sun. The clocks regulate your day. They also regulate your sleep. You go to bed at 10 because you must wake at 5. You stare at the ceiling, anxious about falling asleep. You may suffer from Sunday insomnia, the inability to sleep, because you are thinking about work the next day. You miss the time when you could wake naturally, tend a fire, and then return to bed. Your relationship with sleep has changed. It is no longer integrated into your life. It is squeezed around your obligations. Now you are in the 21st century. You are lying on a memory foam mattress with a pillow that adjusts to your head. The room is at a perfect temperature, thanks to air conditioning. There is no fire to bank, no draft to seal. Yet you cannot fall asleep. Blue light from your phone shines on your face. The news you just read has your mind racing. You turn off the device and close your eyes. Your neighbor's air conditioner hums. A car drives by. The streetlight outside casts a glow through your blinds. You check the clock. It is 2 a.m. You calculate how many hours you have left before your alarm. 6. You panic. You toss and turn. You have been told that 8 hours of sleep is essential for health. You have been told to maintain a sleep schedule, avoid caffeine after noon, and turn off screens an hour before bed. You have been told that napping is lazy. You have been told that sleeping too much is unhealthy. You are bombarded with advice, much of it conflicting. You try meditation, melatonin, and white noise. You try counting sheep. You worry you are failing at sleep. Meanwhile, your ancestors slept in fits and starts, on straw and stone, with animals and pests, without worrying. They did not know the word insomnia. They did not measure their sleep in hours. They slept when they were tired and woke when they needed to. You wonder if they slept better than you do. You suspect that in some ways they did. Modern life disconnects you from natural light. You spend your days indoors, your nights lit artificially. You ignore seasonal changes. You work across time zones. You travel in planes and stay in hotels. You fight your circadian rhythm. Your pillow is perfect, but your mind is not. You may sleep alone in a king-sized bed, missing the warmth of a communal pile. Or you may co-sleep with a partner who snores and a cat that needs your hair. You may track your sleep with a wearable device and worry about your sleep score. Sleep has become a commodity, something you must achieve. It is ironic that with all your technology, you still struggle with something your ancestors took for granted. As you lie in bed, perhaps listening to rain on the window or the hum of electronics, think of your ancestors. Think of the people who slept under the stars, on heated bricks, on rope beds, or in feathered luxury. Think of the communal warmth of prehistoric caves and medieval cottages. Think of the segmented sleep that allowed for quiet contemplation in the middle of the night. Think of the dream books of Egypt and the sleep demons of Rome. Think of monks waking to chant matins and factory workers waking to whistles. Sleep has always been shaped by environment, culture, technology, and belief. There is no single right way to sleep. The question, did ancient people sleep better than us, invites reflection rather than simple answers. Perhaps the key lies in the relationship between sleep and life. Our ancestors did not view sleep as an obstacle to productivity. They viewed it as part of living. It was integrated into their days and nights. They had less control over their environment, but perhaps they had more acceptance. You, with your alarms and mattresses and apps, can learn from them. You can respect your need for rest without making it a contest. You can embrace naps when needed. You can allow yourself to wake in the night without panic. You can create rituals that connect you to something beyond screens. A cup of tea, a prayer, a story told by firelight. Sleep is not a trophy, it is a gift. Accept it however it comes. As you drift off tonight, remember that you are part of a long lineage of sleepers. Your dreams are woven from the same threads as theirs. They looked at the stars, and you look at your phone, but the need is the same: to rest, to restore, to slip into that other world. Close your eyes. Breathe. Feel the weight of history on your eyelids. Sleep well. Throughout history, beds have been more than places to sleep. They are statements of status. In the palaces of Mesopotamia, kings slept on elaborately carved frames draped with textiles dyed in rare colors. You imagine yourself as a queen, reclining on a bed covered with linen woven so fine that it feels like silk. Servants tuck mosquito netting around you to keep out insects. They warm bricks and place them under your sheets to chase away the chill. Before you lie down, you wash your feet in perfumed water, an ancient practice that echoes through time. Your hair is combed and braided. You wear a night garment embroidered with gold thread. When you climb into bed, you do so carefully. There is a proper side to enter from. There is a way to arrange your limbs. One does not simply flop onto a royal bed. You settle in, feeling the weight of the canopy above you. You drift off while eunuchs stand guard outside the door. Now imagine you are a medieval noble in France. Your bed is the centerpiece of your chamber. It stands on a raised platform. The posts are thick and twisted like vines. Rich curtains hang from the canopy, not just for decoration but to trap heat. You draw them closed and create a private world. Your mattress is stuffed with feathers plucked from hundreds of geese. It sighs as you lie down. Your sheets are of linen, smooth and cool. Your blanket is lined with fur. At the foot of the bed sits a chest with your night clothes. A servant has placed a warming pan under the covers, an iron device filled with hot coals that chases away the damp. The bed itself is so valuable that it is mentioned in your dowry. When you marry, you bring it with you. When you travel, you may even take it apart and have it carried with you. A bed is portable wealth. Contrast this with the bed of a peasant. Your bed is a wooden box filled with straw. You stuff the tick tightly and plump it with your fists. Once a week, you change the straw, shaking out the ticks and fleas. You lay a woolen cover over it. Your pillow is a sack of chaff or a folded blanket. You sleep fully clothed because your cottage is drafty. You share the bed with your spouse, children, and perhaps an elderly parent. Feet rest near faces. The baby might sleep in a cradle hung from the ceiling beams. When the straw gets too infested, you set it alight in the yard and enjoy the smoky smell of burning parasites. Bedding is a constant battle between comfort and pests. In East Asia, bedding has its own customs. In Korea, you lay out yibul, thick quilts, on the warm ondul floor. You roll them up during the day. In India, you unroll a cotton mattress called a gadiya at night and roll it up in the morning. In China, you sleep on a kang and use a bamboo or porcelain pillow. These pillows are often decorated with poems, dragons, or flowers. There is an art to making them comfortable. Some have compartments for herbs like mint and camphor to keep you cool. In Japan, futons are aired out in the sun to prevent mold and mites. It is considered improper to leave bedding unrolled during the day. Tidy spaces are harmonious. Etiquette dictates how and when you fold your quilt. There is a ritual to it, a quiet mindfulness that turns an everyday chore into an act of respect. Sleeping etiquette extends to who sleeps where. In wealthy Roman households, guests are offered a lectus, a guest bed. In medieval inns, travelers share beds with strangers, sleeping head to toe. There is an etiquette to sharing. No hogging the blanket, no rolling over onto your bedmate. People are careful about bodily functions. In diaries from the 18th century, writers complain about bedfellows who snore or have cold feet. Yet they accept the practice. It saves money and keeps people warm. When you stay at an inn on a pilgrimage, you find yourself tucked in with a farmer and his son. At first, you are embarrassed. By morning, you have learned his wife's apple pie recipe. Dreams have always fascinated humans. In ancient Mesopotamia, dream interpreters cataloged symbols and their meanings on clay tablets. A dream about a flooded garden might portend prosperity. A dream of a broken chariot might warn of a journey gone wrong. You picture yourself as an Akkadian dream interpreter. People come to you with dreams of falling stars and talking goats. You consult your tablets and deliver your verdict. In Egypt, you offer sacrifices at the temple of Serapis and sleep on the cool stone floor in hopes of receiving a healing dream. When the god appears in your dream and tells you to eat onions, you wake and eat onions for breakfast, believing they will cure your ailment. In Greece, the philosopher Aristotle writes that dreams are the result of digestive vapors. The physician Hippocrates thinks they can diagnose illness. The Greeks build dream temples called Asclepiae. You, seeking relief from a headache, travel to one. You purify yourself with water, offer honey cakes to Asclepius, and sleep on an animal skin. You dream of a snake coiling around your head. In the morning, the priest tells you the snake is a healing symbol. He prescribes herbs. You feel better, whether because of the herbs or the ritual. In Rome, the Emperor Augustus hires dream interpreters. He once dreams of being handed a scroll by a naked man. His interpreter tells him to expect news from a foreign envoy. When the envoy arrives, Augustus rewards the interpreter generously. Medieval Europe has a more fraught relationship with dreams. Some believe that God sends dreams. Others fear that demons do. The Church warns against trusting dreams, but people cannot resist. There are dream books attributed to saints. In one, a dream of a white horse means good fortune. A dream of teeth falling out means the death of a loved one. You may consult a wise woman about your dream of flying. She tells you that your soul traveled during the night. She advises you to tie a string around your toe next time to keep it anchored. During the Renaissance, scholars begin to study dreams with curiosity. Leonardo da Vinci keeps a dream journal. He writes of waterfalls and flying machines. He wonders if dreams inspire invention. The modern era brings scientists like Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung. Freud writes, "The interpretation of dreams," suggesting dreams are the royal road to the unconscious. He believes your dreams reveal hidden desires. You may dream of a long corridor, and he will say it represents birth. Jung offers a different view. He sees dreams as a way to communicate with the collective unconscious, a reservoir of archetypes shared by all humans. He might interpret your dream of a wise old man as the emergence of your inner sage. You may find these theories fascinating or absurd, but they demonstrate a continued fascination with the sleeping mind. Today, neuroscientists hook up volunteers to machines and study brainwaves. They watch as your brain cycles through stages: light sleep, deep sleep, REM. They note that during REM, your body is paralyzed, your eyes dart, and your dreams are vivid. They try to manipulate dreams with sound and light. They explore lucid dreaming, where you become aware that you are dreaming and can control the dream. You try it yourself. You set an alarm for early morning, wake up briefly, then go back to sleep. In your dream, you realize you are dreaming. You fly over mountains, touch the clouds, and wake laughing. Dreams remain mysterious. They connect you to ancient Egyptians and modern scientists alike. They are the private theater of your mind. The midday nap has been both celebrated and condemned. In warm climates, it is a necessity. The Spanish word siesta comes from the Latin sexta hora, or the sixth hour of the day. In Spain, shops close after lunch. You return home, draw the shutters, and lie down. The heat presses on you like a blanket. You drift into a light sleep. Cicadas chirr. Your grandmother snores softly in the next room. You wake an hour later, refreshed. The streets fill again. The siesta splits the day into 2 shifts. It allows workers to avoid the hottest hours and extend the evening. In Italy, it is called riposo. In Greece, mesimeri. In the Middle East, qailula. Many languages have a word for napping. In Northern Europe, naps are less common historically. The climate is cooler, the days are shorter. But there are exceptions. Sailors nap between shifts. Farmers nap under hedges after harvesting wheat. Children nap on their mothers' backs. In ancient Rome, the poet Horace praises naps. Seize the day, he writes, but also seize a nap. In 19th century England, aristocrats take afternoon naps between tea and dinner. They call it a rest. In Victorian homes, fainting couches provide a place to recline. It is proper to close your eyes while the maid airs out your room. Modern society often looks down on naps. They are seen as lazy or indulgent. Offices discourage napping. Yet research shows that a short nap can improve memory, creativity, and mood. You may have experienced a wave of drowsiness at 2 o'clock, your body's natural dip in alertness. Instead of fighting it with coffee, you could close your eyes for 20 minutes. Some companies are introducing nap pods. Schools are experimenting with afternoon rests. You might take a page from your ancestors and embrace the nap. There is nothing decadent about a pause. It is a small rebellion against a culture that glorifies exhaustion. Across cultures, naps are accompanied by rituals. In Japan, inimurai means sleeping while present. It is acceptable to nap at your desk, on the train, in a meeting. It shows you are working hard. In Italy, children nap after lunch, tucked in by nonna. In Latin America, hammocks sway under palm trees, cradling nappers. In India, Sharpei invite afternoon dozing. In the American South, rocking chairs on porches lull elders to sleep. You can trace a map of naps around the world, each shaped by climate, labor, and tradition. The nap is a democratic sleep. It cuts across class lines. Kings nap. So do beggars. You might recall your own childhood nap, and the sweet drool on a classroom desk. The way we prepare for sleep says as much about us as our dreams. In the medieval cottage, you bank the fire, placing a heavy iron cover over the embers. You hang your stockings by the hearth to dry. You say a prayer, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, bless the bed that I lie on. You check that the door bar is secured. You wrap yourself in a wool blanket. You kiss your children and tell them a story about St. George and the dragon. The ritual is practical and spiritual. In the castle, you dismiss your servants, except the maid who will sleep on a pallet at the foot of your bed. She will wake if you need her. You unroll your hair, brush it 100 strokes and braid it. You rub your feet with goose fat to keep them supple. You lie down and recite a psalm. In China, you boil a pot of hot water and wash your feet before bed. It is believed to draw the day's fatigue out of your body. You sip a cup of warm water to aid digestion. You light a small oil lamp and read a poem. You might burn a coil of mosquito-repellent incense. You tuck a jade amulet under your pillow. In Japan, you take a bath at night, scrubbing clean with soap and rinsing with hot water. The bath relaxes your muscles and washes away dust. You drink tea, perhaps matcha, and savor its bitterness. You lay out your futon and smooth the sheet. You arrange your buckwheat pillow just so. You fold your hands over your chest and let go. In India, you perform arti, waving a lamp in front of a shrine. You apply sandalwood paste to your forehead. You chant the Gayatri mantra. You massage your scalp with oil. You roll out your bed and adjust the mosquito net. You listen to your grandmother tell a myth about Hanuman leaping to the sun. In the Middle East, you pour water over your hands and feet, reciting the Bismillah. You spread a mat on the roof. You watch the stars appear and name them, Altair, Vega, Deneb. You listen for the call to prayer. Sleep blends into worship. In the modern world, your rituals may involve brushing your teeth with minty toothpaste, washing your face, applying moisturizer, dimming the lights, and scrolling through your phone, an anti-ritual that disturbs your sleep. You set an alarm. You set a second alarm. You place a glass of water on the nightstand. You try a meditation app. You breathe deeply. You worry you are not doing enough to prepare for sleep. You remember stories of monks waking to pray and mothers spooning children close. You consider creating a ritual, reading a paper book, lighting a candle, listening to soft music. Perhaps you will start tonight. What will sleep look like in the future? Already we see signs. There are pods in airports where travelers can nap for a fee. There are wearable devices that track your heart rate and body temperature, telling you when to sleep and when to wake. There are pills that claim to replicate the benefits of sleep. There are light bulbs that adjust their color to match your circadian rhythm. There are sleep coaches and sleep clinics. You might imagine a future where people plug into a sleep module that induces perfect rest in 4 hours instead of 8. Or a future where people take turns sleeping in shifts because cities never stop. Or a future where your dreams are recorded and shared, like movies. Scientists are experimenting with slow-wave sleep enhancement, using sound pulses to deepen your restorative sleep. They are exploring genetic variations that allow some people to function on less sleep. Military researchers are trying to keep soldiers awake for days without losing cognitive function. There are discussions about ethical implications. Will sleep become a commodity that only the rich can optimize? Will there be a black market for sleep aids? Will we engineer humans who need less sleep? You think of your ancestors sleeping under the stars, unencumbered by such questions. You wonder if progress is progress. At the same time, there is a movement toward reclaiming natural sleep. Sleep researchers advocate for later school start times for teenagers. Workplaces experiment with flexible schedules. Architects design buildings with more natural light. Urban planners consider dark sky regulations to reduce light pollution. You might one day live in a city that dims its lights at midnight. You might disconnect your devices and reconnect with the cycles of sun and moon. You might take naps without guilt. The future of sleep could be a return to the past, blended with modern comfort. You can imagine yourself in this future, lying on a bed that adjusts its firmness based on your muscle tension. The room darkens, and a gentle hum of white noise masks street sounds. The bed senses your temperature and warms your feet. A scent of lavender fills the air. A voice whispers a story, a voice like mine. It tells you of caves and kangs, of feather beds and futons, of dreams of flying and demons in the night. It reminds you that sleep is universal and diverse. It invites you to close your eyes and join a lineage of sleepers stretching back tens of thousands of years. In the end, no matter the era or technology, the act of surrendering to sleep remains a leap of faith. You let go, trusting that you will wake. You drift, you dream, you restore. The future of sleep is uncertain, but your need for it is timeless. Not every night in history has been restful. There have always been those who lie awake, listening to the tick of a clock or the drip of water, waiting for sleep that will not come. Imagine you are a medieval miller's wife. Your husband snores beside you. Your children sprawl across the bed, and yet your eyes are wide open. Your mind races with worries, the harvest, the rent, the rumor of wolves. You toss and turn on your straw mattress. You pray to Saint Dymphna, patron saint of mental distress. You count sheep not in your mind, but in reality. You can hear them bleating outside. There is no word for insomnia in your language, but the condition exists. People call it night wandering or the waking illness. Remedies include drinking warm ale, placing a silver spoon under your pillow, or reciting psalms. In ancient China, doctors describe insomnia as a disturbance of the Shen, the spirit. You are a scholar worried about the imperial exams. You lie on your kang, unable to sleep. Your mother boils a decoction of sour jujube seeds and poria mushroom. You drink the bitter brew. You practice breathing exercises, inhaling deeply, exhaling slowly, tracing the path of qi through your body. You avoid eating heavy food at night. You sleep with your head pointing south. Still, your mind churns with poetry and calligraphy. You compose lines in your head. When you finally drift off, the rooster crows. You face the day unrested. Insomnia is not a modern invention. It has ancient roots. Nightmares also plague sleepers. You are a Roman soldier camped on the German frontier. You have seen battle and bloodshed. In your dreams you relive the clash of swords. You wake sweating, heart pounding. You sit by the campfire and sharpen your dagger to steady your hands. In the morning, you sacrifice to Mars and hope the nightmares recede. Romans believe in incubus and succubus, male and female demons who sit on the chest and suffocate sleepers. The term nightmare itself comes from the Old English mara, a demon that rides you in your sleep. Across Europe, people fear the old hag, a witch who sits on your chest. To ward her off, you place a broom behind your bedroom door, scatter flax seeds on the floor, or sleep with a knife under your pillow. Night terrors are described in ancient texts. In Arabic tradition there is the jinn, a being of smokeless fire, who may haunt your dreams. A mother hears her child scream in the night. She lights a lamp and sprinkles salt on the threshold. She recites verses from the Quran and rubs the child's forehead with olive oil. In Norse sagas, warriors experience draugr, undead spirits, who appear in dreams. They thrash, shout, and sometimes strike their bedmates. Today we recognize night terrors as a disorder, but in the past, they were often attributed to spirits or stress. Remedies ranged from herbs like valerian and poppy to elaborate charms. In rural France, people place a piece of bread under the pillow to absorb nightmares. In Appalachia, an iron horseshoe above the bed wards off the witch riding. Insomnia and nightmares were not just personal afflictions, they were communal concerns. A shepherd who cannot sleep may miss the sound of a wolf. A king plagued by bad dreams may interpret them as omens and change policy. There are recorded instances of kings canceling battles after dreaming of defeat. The biblical king Nebuchadnezzar dreams of a statue crushed by a stone, leading him to consult Daniel. Pharaoh dreams of cows and ears of corn and summons Joseph. Bad dreams could alter history. In the Middle Ages, entire communities worry about collective nightmares. After the Black Death, people dream of dancing skeletons. Artists paint the dance macabre. The boundary between sleep and waking blurs as fear infiltrates dreams. You understand that sleepless nights have always existed, and you find solace in knowing you are not alone. For most of human history, sleeping alone has been a rarity. The shared bed is a social institution. In prehistoric caves, you sleep in piles for warmth and safety. In medieval cottages, you share a bed with your family and sometimes with guests. In frontier America, travelers stop at inns and find every inch of bed space occupied. A sign reads, 4 per bed. You climb in, fully clothed, next to a stranger. You lie stiffly at first, then relax as exhaustion takes over. In the morning, you share breakfast and part as acquaintances. The bed is a site of intimacy, not only for lovers, but for strangers. It is a place where boundaries blur. You learn that your bedmate snores, speaks in his sleep, smells of onions. You learn to be tolerant. Sleeping together fosters bonds. Families that sleep in one bed share more than blankets. They share stories, secrets, songs. A mother tells her children tales as they drift off. A father hums a tune. Siblings whisper and giggle. If someone cries, a hand reaches out in the dark. Warmth is shared physically and emotionally. Anthropologists note that in societies where co-sleeping is common, children often feel more secure. There is less emphasis on independence and more on interdependence. You grow up knowing your parents' breathing patterns. You know the sound of your brother's foot kicking in a dream. You know the smell of home. Sleeping together also creates tensions. In crowded tenements of 19th century cities, multiple families share a single room. Privacy is non-existent. The bed becomes a contested space. Who gets the outside and risks the cold? Who is in the middle, squeezed and safe? In diaries, women complain about men who come home drunk and collapse onto the bed, reeking of gin. Men complain about babies wetting the bed. Children complain about parents snoring. Boundaries are enforced with blankets or sticks. In some cultures, there is a bed divider. In others, there is bundling, a courtship practice in colonial America, where a young man and woman share a bed with a board between them, or fully clothed, often under the watchful eyes of parents. The practice allows intimacy within boundaries. It acknowledges sexual desire while attempting to control it. Shared beds can be political. In royal courts, a monarch's bedchamber is public. Courtiers watch the king dress and undress. Noblemen share the king's bed as a sign of favor. In Tudor England, ambassadors are shocked to find that Henry VIII shares his bed with his male friends. It is not sexual. It is a display of trust. Bedfellows are confidants. In monastic dormitories, monks sleep side by side on straw pallets, symbolizing equality. They are brothers in arms against sin. The shared bed is a social leveler. The poor share because they must. The rich share to display intimacy or equality. Only in the modern era does the idea of a private, personal bed become widespread. Modern sleep trends emphasize individuality. We have twin beds, double beds, queen beds, king beds. We have sleep divorces. Couples sleeping in separate rooms to avoid snoring. We value personal space, yet co-sleeping persists. Many parents choose to sleep with their babies for the first months or years. It is controversial in some cultures and standard in others. There is research suggesting that infants who co-sleep regulate their breathing and temperature better. There is research suggesting risks. The debate mirrors broader tensions between independence and connection. You may recall curling up next to a loved one and feeling their heartbeat slow. You may recall the comfort of a shared quilt. Shared sleep is both messy and meaningful. It reflects who we are and what we value. Your work determines your sleep more than you might realize. Consider the baker. In medieval Europe, the baker goes to bed with the chickens but sets his alarm long before dawn. He sleeps a few hours, then rises at midnight. He stokes the communal oven, kneads dough by the glow of a rushlight, and bakes bread for the morning market. His sleep is broken and shifted. He naps in the afternoon. He is so accustomed to this rhythm that sleeping through the night feels unnatural. Or consider the shepherd. He sleeps in a shepherd's hut on the edge of the pasture. He dozes lightly, ears attuned to the bleat of sheep or the howl of wolves. He wakes frequently to check his flock. His sleep is vigilant. He might nap in the middle of the day while the sheep rest in the shade. He dreams of wool. Sailors sleep in hammocks that sway with the waves. On a 18th century naval ship, watches are 4 hours. You are assigned to the midnight watch. You sleep from 8 to midnight, wake to scrub the deck and adjust the sails, then sleep again from 4 to 8. Your sleep is in increments. You learn to fall asleep quickly. The creak of timbers and the scent of tar are your lullabies. You tie yourself into the hammock to avoid being thrown out. You may sleep surrounded by dozens of other men, their snores mingling with the splash of waves. Storms make sleep impossible. Calm seas make you drowsy. You adapt. In monasteries, monks follow the rule of Saint Benedict. They rise at 2 or 3 in the morning for vigils. They sleep again after lauds at dawn. They work in the fields, copy manuscripts, pray, eat, and sleep at prescribed times. Sleep is a discipline. The cells are small. The beds are boards with thin mattresses. Pillows are luxuries. The intention is to avoid sloth. Monks are allowed a midday nap called a siesta, or little sleep. They call it a meridianum. The rhythm of prayer shapes their sleep. During the Industrial Revolution, factory shifts force workers into unnatural sleep patterns. Women and children work 12-hour shifts. If you work the night shift, you sleep during the day with noise and light. If you work the day shift, you collapse in the early evening and wake before dawn. Sleep becomes a contested resource. Some workers resort to sleeping in shifts, half lying down, while the other half watches over children. In mining towns, men finish a night shift covered in coal dust, drink a pint, and flop onto beds still in their boots. Their wives shake them awake when it is time for the next shift. In modern times, work still dictates sleep. Healthcare workers work 12-hour night shifts. Pilots cross time zones, sleeping in cockpits during breaks. Programmers code through the night, fueled by caffeine and sugar. Gig economy workers deliver food at midnight and sleep when they can. Farmers still rise with the sun. Teachers wake early to prepare lessons. Sleep is flexible or rigid depending on your job. People who work multiple jobs often sleep in bits, napping on buses or at desks. The 24/7 economy reduces the boundary between day and night. You may have to answer emails at midnight. You may sleep with your phone under your pillow. Sleep is squeezed around the demands of labor. Recognizing this can help you advocate for rest. Unions fought for 8-hour workdays. 8 hours for work, 8 for rest, 8 for what you will. The fight continues. Sleep has long been seen as a barometer of health. In ancient times, if you slept too much, people thought you were lazy or ill. If you slept too little, they worried you were cursed or consumed by spirits. Remedies for sleep problems are as varied as the cultures that produced them. Imagine you are a Greek physician, apprenticed to Hippocrates. You treat a patient who cannot sleep after the death of a spouse. You prescribe baths and walking. You counsel moderation in food and drink. You mix a potion of lettuce juice, believing it has cooling properties. You advise the patient to avoid bright light before bed, a timeless piece of advice. Lettuce, as it turns out, does contain trace amounts of lacticarium, a sedative. In ancient Rome, insomnia is sometimes treated with opium. Poppy juice is mixed with wine and taken in small doses. The poet Ovid writes of a temple to Somnus, the personification of sleep, where opium poppies grow. You, as a Roman noble, might send your slave to obtain a draught. You swallow the bitter liquid and feel your eyelids grow heavy. You drift into a drugged sleep. In the morning you wake groggy but grateful. Opium is effective but addictive. There are other remedies: valerian root, henbane, mandrake. Each has its own dangers. Mandrake is so strong that it can cause hallucinations. Pliny the Elder advises tying the root to a dog and letting the animal pull it up to avoid being cursed. You might decide sleeplessness is preferable. Herbal remedies abound. In medieval Europe, people drink teas made from chamomile, hop flowers, and lavender. They stuff pillows with rosemary and thyme. They place St. John's wort over the bed to ward off nightmares. A popular recipe for insomnia calls for boiling lettuce and mixing it with wine. Another suggests vinegar and honey. In times of scarcity, any plant that promises calm is used. In China, traditional Chinese medicine prescribes suanzorin, sour jujube seeds, and bahi, lily bulbs, to nourish the heart and calm the spirit. A healer teaches you to massage an acupressure point on your wrist, called shenmen. In India, Ayurveda recommends a glass of warm milk with turmeric and ghee. It also advises oil massage and meditation. Superstitions also play a role. In many cultures, people believe that witches steal sleep by tangling your hair or tying knots in your bedclothes. To counteract this, you place a comb under your pillow or a silver coin under your bed. In Ireland, people put a sprig of rowan tree near the bed. In Scandinavia, they carve runes on the bedposts. In parts of Africa, people burn herbs and animal dung to chase away spirits. In Jewish tradition, the bedtime Shema prayer asks for protection from evil spirits. In Islamic tradition, the Ayat al-Kursi is recited. Ritual provides comfort. Faith intersects with sleep hygiene. As medicine advances, so do sleep remedies. In the 18th century, laudanum, a tincture of opium, becomes widely used. Housewives take it for cramps, coughs, and sleeplessness. Writers like Samuel Taylor Coleridge and Thomas de Quincey fall under its spell. It provides relief, but at a cost. In the 19th century, bromides are introduced. They sedate but cause rashes and depression. Barbiturates follow in the early 20th century. They knock you out, but are addictive and dangerous. In the mid-20th century, benzodiazepines like Valium offer a safer option, but they too have risks. Today, millions take melatonin, a hormone supplement, to regulate their sleep. Others use prescription medications like Ambien. Each era finds new ways to coax sleep, each with benefits and dangers. We also see the rise of sleep aids that are not medicinal. Weighted blankets, originally used to calm patients with anxiety, become mainstream. White noise machines provide constant sound to mask disruptive noises. Blackout curtains block light pollution. Essential oil diffusers fill the air with lavender. There are apps that play brown noise, guided meditations, and bedtime stories. You might have a favorite ASMR video that tingles your scalp and lulls you. You may have tried sleep podcasts. You may rely on a teddy bear or a loved one's shirt. You see how modern remedies echo ancient ones. Herbs, ritual, environment. Across cultures, there is recognition that sleep and health are intertwined. In Islamic medicine, sleep is one of the 6 essential factors of health, along with air, food, drink, exercise, mental state, and excretion. In Chinese medicine, proper sleep is linked to the heart and liver meridians. In Western medicine, lack of sleep is linked to obesity, heart disease, and depression. We are still learning. The World Health Organization calls sleep deprivation a global epidemic. You read articles about sleep debt. You worry about yours. You take solace in herbal tea. You meditate. You laugh at the idea that medieval peasants might have slept better on straw. You acknowledge that they also lived shorter, harsher lives. Sleep is one piece of the health puzzle. Finally, beliefs shape how you treat sleep. If you believe nightmares are messages from spirits, you will seek ritual. If you believe insomnia is a moral failing, you will feel shame. If you believe sleep is for the weak, you will boast about how little you need. Cultures that value productivity often devalue sleep. Cultures that value dreaming honor sleep. Your beliefs matter. Changing them can change your sleep. You might decide to value rest, to view it as a form of medicine. You might decide to create a sacred space for sleep, with clean sheets, soft light, and calming scents. You might place a book by your bed, and read a few pages before closing your eyes. You might whisper a prayer. Sleep may come more easily when you invite it with respect. And when it doesn't, you can remember that sleepless nights have always been part of the human condition, and you can be gentle with yourself. A closing thought. As you tuck these stories of sleep into your own dreams, remember that each era, each culture, has grappled with the same mysteries. Sleep connects us all, across time and space, in a shared vulnerability and a shared hope for renewal. Let that knowledge comfort you tonight.